Vito Chiesa is a lifelong resident of Houston. He graduated from Houston High School, attended Modesto Junior College, and went on to graduate from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a Bachelor's of Science degree in agriculture. Vito works in a family farming operation with his parents, Mary and Araldo, and brother, Andrew. In addition to growing walnuts, almonds, and peaches, the family operates a commercial walnut hulling and drying business. Prior to being elected to the Board of Supervisors, Vito served the community as the president of the Stanislaus County Fair Board, as well as the president of the Stanislaus County Farm Bureau. He also served as a director for the Modesto Chamber of Commerce, state director for California Farm Bureau. He is currently in his third term as Stanislaus County Supervisor for District 2. Some of his other many responsibilities include serving as the past president of the California State Association of Counties, CSAC, commissioner of the Children and Families Commission, member of the Stanislaus Council of Government, STANCOG, Executive Committee and Policy Board, member of the California Partnership for the San Joaquin Valley, member of the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority, alternate member of the Emergency Medical Services Board of Directors, member of the City of Houston Oversight Board, and member of the City of Turlock Oversight Board. Welcome to the Modern Assyrian on AGN TV. My name is Carmen Morad. I am so pleased to have a friend of the Assyrian community on this program yet again, Supervisor Vito Chiesa, representing the 2nd District of Stanislaus County. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me, Carmen. It's always fun to join you.
Thank you so much. As busy as you are, you always accept my invitations, whether it's for an interview, Vito, whether it's for an event. You always attend all of the Assyrian festivals, events at the university. So I want to begin by thanking you for that.
Well, I want to tell you, it's always a pleasure. The culture that I learn and the fun that the Assyrian community always has, I love to be a part of that.
Thank you. You know, one of the first things I remember about you, Vito, when I was emceeing an event and you were so gracious to present a proclamation. And you said that what you love about the Assyrian people is that they are so proud. I remember that vividly because you get us. You understand the Assyrian community so well. And that's why I call you a friend of our community, our champion.
So it always goes back to the same thing. My dad was an immigrant. He left challenging times, Second World War, out of Italy. And he didn't have any of the diversity, the challenges that the Assyrian people have been through over the thousands of years. And that's where I see the proud nature. That's why the culture continues. And that's always a word that comes to me whenever I think about just Assyrians in general, the family aspect, but the way they stick together and how proud they are.
Absolutely. You are right. We are faith-based, family-based, and as an immigrant community, even though I call us Assyrian Americans because this is our home, and we have to give back to a community that has embraced us, and our children are growing up here. So I believe in that preservation and advancement as well. And that's one of the reasons we do this program, Vito. You've been such a good friend, and you've been on this program to help us be more informed, to help us become more engaged. And, one of the reasons that I always talk about getting engaged is most people pay attention to only presidential elections. They get all excited every 4 years. But it's so important to pay attention to our local politics as well, whether it's our mayors, supervisors, school districts, and of course there is the national elections. But it's so important to paying attention to who are our representatives at our local and county and even state levels. One of the things I remember you told me when I asked you how you became involved in politics, and that also stayed with me when you were a kid and you went to the state capitol, and someone wanted to know what you thought and how you felt, and you shared your ideas and thoughts, and that really stayed with you. And please add to it if I need to add to it. But how do we get people more engaged and involved in a way where they can be involved but also give back to their community?
Yeah, and I would always encourage people to watch the local level first, rather than, because the news cycle is dominated by the federal and the state politics. But the bottom line is you receive services at the local level, whether that's at the county or the city level. That's whether you have water, clean water, whether your toilet flushes, whether your garbage is being picked up, whether the roads you drive on, the safety and security of the police force is always done at the local level. The state and the federal government are important because they're funders of lots of programs that we can talk about, mental health and the community service agency. But people get too caught up in what's happening at the state and federal level when everything around you is provided at the local level. So if you want to be engaged, you should attend your city council meeting, the board of supervisor meeting. It's extremely important. And people think that their voice doesn't matter. And I can tell you just the opposite, because of what you had explained earlier, Carmen, that as I've grown up and had opportunities all the way through when I was involved in the Farm Bureau, just the opportunity to make a difference. Maybe it's a small difference, but to make my voice known. And that's grown into the position I'm in now, where I have the ability to effectuate change. Granted, it's generally on a county level, but it gives you a bigger audience to work with. And there are a lot of things that you try and provide that you've heard from your friends and neighbors on how to make a program better. So I encourage everyone to stay involved, like you have been over the many years, Carmen.
Thank you, Vito. It does make a difference. You understand a little bit better how our local government works. Like you said, whether it's the city, what services the city offers us, or the county or state level. And this takes me to my next point of you do this wonderful thing called Government Night, where you facilitate, organize, and you've been doing this for a few years, and you invite at a community level a platform where our congressman was there, Duarte, Senator Alvarado Gil, Assemblyman Juan Alanis, and of course, Mayor Amy Bublak and yourself. All levels of government were present. And there was an opportunity for constituents to ask. And what an awesome opportunity to have everyone in the room. Thank you for doing that. I participated via Zoom. What was your takeaway? What is the pulse of the community right now?
So first, I'll give you just your watching audience. We did this about 12 of the last 13 years. And the idea came out of when someone talked to me, they were frustrated, but it wasn't a county issue. And they had already been bounced from the congressman down to me. And then it was a state issue. So people get very frustrated because they're never sure at what level of government. So I thought, we're going to bring us all together, have the public come out and ask questions, and we can't ever pass the buck, because that is what the constituents don't want. They want us working together. So my big takeaway, what I want people to understand is, A, you can get a hold of us, but B, that we're continually working together. There has to be collaborative effort at all levels of government in order for us to get our fair share of funding. The San Joaquin Valley is home to many disadvantaged areas, and we have plenty of those in Stanislaus County. So we're always fighting for a fair share. And I want people to see that. As far as this last government night, the topics that always come to the forefront are homelessness, security, which is really about safety and security. And then now really mental health funding and or programs has really come to the forefront.
That's actually what everybody talks about, because the homelessness has become an issue where we see a lot of money, millions of dollars are being allocated, and they are going to services that are being offered. But, one of the things I was reading about that I would like to ask your opinion on is our state legislature is working on, I believe it's Senate Bill 43, that has to do with conservatorship. And it has to do with mental health services, and there is the care court. Can you give us a little bit more of an understanding of what they are about and what their intention is to help us combat our homelessness issue?
Yeah. The Eggman bill, which is SB 43, very interesting. It's trying to expand conservatorship. And we have already in Stanislaus County, under the leadership of actually Supervisor Withrow, who really has been championing conserving more people, but it expands the definition for conservatorship to not just include mentally ill folks, but gravely disabled. That's the catchphrase that allows you to pick up people who have severe substance abuse or substance use issues. So there's an opportunity, and conservatorship is really the forced entry. And you'll hear the difference between that and care court on the civil side, but you can force people into treatment. Care court, which Stanislaus County is one of the pilot counties. I think we're the only suburban-sized county, a 500,000. A lot of the large counties are doing it. We're rolling it out. It's being launched in October. Judge Villalobos is going to be the judge, but it's still on the civil side. And the civil side is that referrals go directly to the judge rather than to our behavioral health. And it's still not able to force people in, but you have this black robe effect when people go before a judge trying to get them into treatment. Again, it's another tool in the toolbox of trying to deal with the severely mentally ill. There's another component of that, Carmen, the mental health court. We just got some funding, and it's essentially going to be a diversion. The county was successful in getting funding, but it's a collaboration, and that's what we're always talking about, trying to collaborate together between the district attorney, behavioral health, and the public defender, that maybe we can divert a certain population that may have committed a crime but are mentally ill. And some points we were putting mentally ill people who might have committed something, and I'm not talking about violent offenses, but other offenses that might have been charged, and then we put them in jail where they're not receiving proper treatment. And so this is an opportunity through the mental health court where we could divert some of these people as long as they'll stay in treatment to try and get them better. Because if you put someone in jail with a mental health issue and they're not getting the treatment, they come out as bad or worse off, and we haven't treated the underlying condition. Although we're doing a better job in the jails, I don't want you to think that we're not trying, but it's just another tool that we're able to use. And those are, again, are civil matters. It's a collaboration. They have to agree on who deserves to be diverted out of the legal system. And I like that, because the public defender and the district attorney, people think that they don't work together. And here in Stanislaus County, we have a very collaborative effort between them.
Thank you for clarifying that. A lot of people don't really know what is going on. The visible aspect of homelessness, and as you said, those who are mentally ill, who are walking around in our streets talking to themselves, and we see them in encampments. Not much is known about what's being done, unfortunately. Thank you for clarifying that and letting us know what our county is doing. We are doing really good work with the Assyrian Wellness Collaborative, which is a contracted partner with BHRS and Prevention and Early Intervention, where we actually try to be culturally competent and sensitive to reduce the stigma of mental health. And as you know, it's a very touchy subject to talk about, but it is about well-being. And it is about how we can bridge the gap of services. And as we know, prevention works. Thank you for sharing that information with us, because I do know BHRS is right second in line for the budget of our county, after law enforcement and probation, correct?
It is. And I'm glad you talked a little bit about the stigma, because that has been a barrier to entry, and you have to have trusted messengers. And when you talk about culturally competent, and we're really changing the method in which you approach people, whether they're homeless or whether it's your neighbor next door. And I think we're doing a better job. I do also want to point out one other thing, because the opioid crisis is real, and especially in the Valley. It is the overdoses that have occurred because of this really, really bad drug. And a lot of people don't even know they're taking it. But we've had 127 overdose deaths last year. So you're talking about almost 3 a week. And the fact that we're not talking about it even more. And so there's an opioid settlement. Stanislaus County is going to be receiving money. We're not sure yet because it's still ongoing litigation, but I think we know that it's going to be at least $16 million. And we're going to invest that money into more beds. We're looking right now where we have a request for proposal out for another 50 beds for substance use disorder, because everyone knows that some of the mentally ill folks try and self-medicate with drugs if we're not getting them their current medication or the correct medication and the correct dose. So we're trying to figure out ways in every direction, in housing and in beds, so we can get people stabilized to receive treatment.
Absolutely. We are also working diligently with BHRS to do a lot of outreach programs, especially with the younger folks. But I don't think age is a factor anymore when it comes to fentanyl and when it comes to substance abuse. There's so much stigma around it. And it's not just that individual that suffers, it is the family members, it is the children, and of course the parents. So it is very real in the Valley. We need to pay attention to it. And education is one way. I do know that our county started focus on prevention, and it has been years of education and outreach and reaching people at an early age. I mean, we even talked about roles of fathers in the family. We talked about recidivism. We talked about what it takes to have mentorship, what it takes to have, like the Boys and Girls Club, for example, after school programs. It really does make a difference when your government and your representatives pay attention, because we really want to make sure that we don't want to be number one in anything. We're one of 58 counties in California, but this problem is so real, and it is such a complex things to talk about, where we have a lot of work to do, a lot of learning to do, and we're doing our part through our platform to educate. And thank you for giving us a little bit more information about what's being done about it. Supervisor Chiesa, I want to talk to you. First of all, I want to thank you for your service, but I recently found out that you are running for your 5th term.
I am running for my 5th term. I just announced recently, and some people may like that, some people may not like that. I can just tell you that I still have the drive and the energy and the knowledge to do it again. I love the county team. I love the board members I serve with and continue to serve with. And I'm just excited every morning when I get up to still do this job. And I hope that the public feels the same way.
Absolutely. I believe they do, because no one's challenging you, and your constituents are happy with the work you do, and you make yourself available. I know whenever I call your office or when I see you, you are always there with open arms. You're ready to listen, and you pay attention to our diverse communities. But I want to ask you about something. Through our interviews, you've shared a few things about your family. You've shared about your passion to serve. But through the years, and it's been quite a few now, and thank you for sharing your I want to say life, because this is part of your life. This is your passion. This is what you do. I want to ask you about what has been the proudest moment in years of service at the Board of Supervisors.
So, sometimes you derive so much excitement for getting someone's water turned back on, or their garbage service, or a light changed. but long-term ramifications for the Board of Supervisors and Stanislaus County to make it a better place. My board allowed me to run for president of our state organization some years back. And really, I needed their blessing because I was going to have to take less of a load on our committee assignments. So I became president of our state association and was able to fix this long-term issue that really came around in the first Governor Brown administration through Prop 13. And it was an inequity that was never fixed. And just because of the position and the ability to access the governor on this issue, we were able to, along with our legislative representatives, and you know all of them, Assemblywoman Kristen Olson at the time, Assemblymember Bill Berryhill, Senator Anthony Canales, Senator Galgiani, Senator, I think that was our delegation. We were able to get it fixed, and that has benefited the county $7 million a year since 2015. So we're to the good of about $70 million. And it's, you think about money that's new money, it's very hard to find new money unless you tax folks, but this is without having to tax local residents. And it's just blossomed out into these programs, down into the Turlock Library. We were able to make a bigger library there. We were able to improve our parks, things that the community sees forward facing. Better, more police officers, our sheriff's deputies, more mental health services. So it's really allowed us the opportunity, and it was wronging an inequity. It wasn't anything that was extraordinary. It was something that was owed to us that hadn't been fixed in many years. So I'm most proud of that. But again, every time you help a constituent, it just makes you feel good. Sometimes it's 10 hours of work for a 2-minute conversation, but if you can help that person, it's as far as they're concerned, it's the only problem in the world.
That's wonderful. You're absolutely right. When you're able to help someone who needs it, or your experience through the years of navigating through the system, navigating through, the funding that's available and to bring it home, I think that is incredible. And that's why your constituents need to know that you do represent them and you do improve their everyday quality of life. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome. And I'm proud to represent, and I hope I'm easy to find. My cell phone number is all over the internet. Everyone can find me, my home number. But the best way is to call me down at my office
Awesome.
where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, thank you. I'm reading through the multiple list of boards and commissions that you have served on. And of course, Government Night is something that most people know about. In closing, Supervisor Chiesa, I want to thank you for, the Assyrian Festival is coming up. I'm hoping I will see you there. But in closing, what would you like to let our viewers know about being active, being engaged, and giving back to the community, and pay more attention to our local politicians?
Yeah, and there are so many opportunities. And in case everyone doesn't know, Carmen is on the Planning Commission, but she was on the Modesto Planning Commission. Now she's on the Stanislaus County Planning Commission. But there are so many boards and commissions where you can make a difference. If you love parks, then we have a Parks Commission. If you love the mental health field, you can participate. We have a mental health board. There are so many. You go to the Board of Supervisors website at stancounty.com, go to Board of Supervisors and look for committees. I think we probably got 50 committees, and there are positions that turn over. You can start there and make a difference in your community, because every one of those gives direction to the Board of Supervisors and our long-term view. We need to hear from the constituents. It's very difficult for me to have a government night every week or a town hall. It's hard to put together. So it's easier when these groups of individuals who have a shared interest or are consumers of something bring up something to the board that they need changed, or there's a reason for it. And the board is very attentive to that and very sensitive to how people feel. So I tell you to get engaged. You'll help me in my job, do my job better, and you'll help the city council do their job. And it's good for your voice to be heard because people listen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your final thoughts. And I would like to invite you to come back anytime there's something to talk about that our viewers need to know about. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me, Carmen.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. This concludes my conversation with Supervisor Vito Chiesa of the 2nd District of Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors. I will see you on the next Modern Assyrian.
إيمان وايلة أكسيدنت اتنرابة ناشة ليطي متبال سلطة قد شكلي. اتلا نسيانة بدنا كيسس الانجري لو و بيالباية قريمخ. إن آتن ينكل بتت بيتا خزموخن يطانة اتلوخن بوقارة مخبرون المنيان التلفون 8 أربع شوا وشو 8 تري وشو 5 خا يعني توكن بيت injuryrights.com. شمي إلى توني كالغراكس كيام زمن لشان خلية يما